Hey everybody, this is Dr. Campbell. Welcome back to the Wellness Hustle podcast. You've been seeing the episodes, and I know you've been hearing the stories. And I see you guys even been sharing the stories and following the people who you've been watching about, knowing that these people are blazing trails, changing lives. They're making their environments different. And that's who we're interviewing at this podcast. Not the people that you see and you expect to be there, but the ones in their own quiet way that are truly making an impact. Today, we have one such person in our midst. This is attorney Ryan Rucker. Attorney Ryan Rucker, it's been a pleasure and a joy to have known you. And I've watched you, I've seen, I've talked to you several times. And, you're a well-established family man. You're an attorney that is well-established in the state of Georgia. You slay on the stand when I tell you that this man in the courtroom is a beast. But most people would not know. Why? He is one of the most quiet and maybe unassuming people that you'll ever come across. But they say silent rivers, they run deep. Today we're going to get deep today, sir.
Let's get
We're
deep.
going to talk. We're going to tell the folks who this man is with the beautiful smile, right? That speaks only when he has to, but speaks very powerfully. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Doc. It's my pleasure to be here. I've seen
Absolutely,
you coming
man.
to Atlanta, become fully integrated in the market here. From your magazine to the podcast to the thousands of people that you serve, the injured Georgians, even my clients, who come with rave reviews. So it's an honor to be here with you today.
Man, you know what? And that means a lot. Folks, when I hear, these sort of commendations, I smile because oftentimes people think the journey is easy. Building a community, especially coming from, another place into what I would consider a strange land, not knowing people here and having to do the work to build that community. But then to hear others saying that it is happening, that they're seeing it and they're recognizing it, it certainly warms my heart. But today, folks, as much as I'd like to talk about me, it's certainly not about me today. It's about attorney Ryan Rucker. Tell us, man, how long have you been an attorney?
Well, I graduated law school in 2012. Time flies, so that's 14 years now.
Jeez, man.
Feels like I just ended practice, but 14 years. I guess I'm a veteran now.
You know what? So that tells me that, you must be having fun. When people say that it feels like they just got started, then it means that, even though they've been in the business for many years, that means that they must be having. Tell us about some of what you do.
Well, I'm a personal injury attorney. We handle all types of cases, whether it be negligent security, car accidents. I specialize in trucking cases. My name is Ryan Rucker. They say if you get hit by a trucker, ask for attorney Rucker.
There you go.
I handle dog bite cases. We handle anytime a person is injured, we assist them.
Gotcha. Now, I know you've really done a lot for your clients over the years of practice. Has it always been stellar recoveries? Has it always been smooth sailing? Have there been instances where the recovery or the verdict wasn't what you were expecting?
Well, I always tell my clients, if I could change one thing about the law, it would be the way a person recovers, because if you're hit by, let's say, a Coca-Cola truck, then you have $1 million policy, you can get all the treatment that you need and still have a financial recovery to help set them up for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I've had a client who was killed in a car accident and they had minimum policy limits of $25,000. And it was very difficult to tell the family that's the most that we can recover. We could have filed a lawsuit against the driver themselves. However, they wouldn't have enough money or assets to pay that person. And it usually results in what's called a paper verdict, meaning that you receive something saying this person may owe you millions of dollars, but you never collect $1. For the most part, they can file bankruptcy or it's just really hard to collect. Most people don't have assets or homes that are unencumbered. So typically it's best to go after the insurance money. That's guaranteed pay, but you are at the mercy of that particular person's policy. A person could hit you and kill 4 people in a car and only have $50,000 for all 4 people. That's $12,500 per person. And
that's all you have to work with.
That's all you have to work with.
So how is it sometimes when you're breaking this to the clients, to their families, especially clients who might not have insurance and they might be the sole provider for their family and they were involved in a really catastrophic accident. Now they're on the recovery, but they can't really go back to work, to do the things that they would normally do to provide. and then you now have to break this to the family.
Right.
How is these sessions of breaking this sort of news?
It's difficult. The family doesn't understand. They believe that they should receive the value of that person's life, and of course, there is no value for human life. But 25,000 certainly doesn't cover what that person was providing for their family, especially over a long period of time, even for 1 year. So it's a difficult conversation to have. We just have to have a very heartfelt conversation. And I do whatever I can. There's a Georgia Victims Fund which
Mm-hmm.
contributes funds up to 25,000. Of course, that's not anything that an attorney recovers from. So I always provide that to them as well. Give them the most amount of resources that I can. The best help that I can provide to them. Now, of course, if we have a bigger policy, I get them all the treatment they need, and then they can have a much larger recovery. But those are the instances when I feel that the law should be changed, when they have those smaller policies.
Gotcha. Are there any parts of your practice, or present, past, or past, that has really kept you up and caused you to have sleepless nights?
Well, absolutely. I have some clients that are really suffering, and I know what they're dealing with. The litigation process can take up to 2 years, 2 years or longer. So during this time, I have particular one client right now. He hasn't worked in 5 years. His case is in litigation right now, but he's having a very difficult time. And I go home and I think about these things. A lot of attorneys, they leave it in the office, but I don't. They actually call me sometimes on my cell phone just to tell me, Ryan, this is how my day was. And in fact, they joke with me in the office. They say that my clients think I'm their best friend because they'll call me about things not related to their case, not related to the law, just call me to talk about things, going on in their life. And I have a difficult time saying, I'm busy or not taking those calls. So I'm always there for them no matter what it is. And it shows. I have one client, she was in a very dire situation, her life was upside down. We finally made it to trial. She got enough money to change her life, and she named her grandchild after me.
Oh wow,
So
man,
that's a huge,
it's powerful.
right. It's nothing that feels that way. And that's
That's
the reason we do this. That's the reason I do this.
I'm smiling because it sounds like you're doing this with heart. We can, as I said earlier, we can make all the money that we can make, and we can get amass all the things, whether it's cars or homes
Right.
or clothing items, all these things. But when you think about it, we leave none of this. I'm sorry, we take none of this with us,
Right.
because we all have to get to that place where we're all going to be in that place looking up, and the last moments, the time is ticking, and we're contemplating, okay, how did I do it?
And I think about that all the time, Doc. I know we have a finite amount of time here.
No, man, let's talk. Let's get into it. How did I do it? We have a finite amount of lifetime,
Mhm.
right? You forget the podcast time, but how do we spend this time that we have? Now, whether we've chosen law or medicine or whatever business, the question is, what is our end goal? And I think that's what I try to let the people in my circle, the people who I consider my tribe, the guys and the girls, that it's sometimes bigger than that.
Absolutely.
It's sometimes bigger than that which we're reaching for. This that we're reaching for, it is the process. But as we're reaching in the process, don't forget to look around while you're taking another step up this ladder.
And enjoy the journey.
Exactly. Enjoy this journey.
Mhm.
Because in the end, when we're all at that place, all right, in that position, recumbent position, looking up, and the minutes are passing by, what we will have with us is those times that we took notice
Mhm.
of what was around us as we were attempting to do this climb. So right now in your life, man, let's talk about the things that inspires you. It sounds like you're doing a great job in terms of your clients. You're representing them with all that you can in your heart. You put your passion into it. That's fantastic. But what drives that?
Building a legacy. I want to be a person when I pass, people come up to my children and say, you're Ryan's son, you're Ryan's daughter. He was a great man. He did this for my family. He helped me this way. And my father, he was one of the greatest coaches in the city of Atlanta. He was a teacher as well. And I would see him, go to work 2 jobs every day. During the day, he was a teacher. In the afternoon, he would coach. He would pick people up, the athletes parents didn't have cars from all over the city, drop them off at home. If some of the people didn't have food in their home, he'd stop by the store, bring food. And he wasn't rich by any stretch of the imagination. But that giving back, that sense of community, he instilled in me at a young age. So it's like you said, it's not about the cars, it's not about the jewelry, it's not about anything like that. It's about building a legacy and have people remember you in that particular manner.
Gotcha. I heard a controversial, very controversial sort of like take on this, and I'm still trying to understand it. But I'm going to share it with you now
Absolutely.
before I bump into the next question. So I was listening to a podcast session, just a clip. Kanye West was talking, and someone asked him, what is it that you would like to leave behind? Would you like to leave maybe a street named after you, a basketball or a music station, like whatever it is named after you? And his response was, it shocked me at first. His explanation didn't really do it, but I'm still thinking about his response. He said, it is my hope, it is my goal to be forgotten. I paused on that for a second because to me, like most of us are leaving a legacy to be remembered. But he desires to be forgotten. And the point that he made when he says to be forgotten, and let me just tie this all up.
Okay.
He says that, do you know who invented the spoon or the fork? Who invented like the fireplace, but we use it a lot. He said, do you even know the chair that you're sitting on right now, who invented that? And then he pivots to say that the most powerful thing for him is to do something that is ingrained in everyday life, so impactful, but people don't even know who did it, when it was done. It blew me away because I've never seen it that way.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that is the approach, but it caused me to think more. Because like you, it is my goal to leave some sort of impact behind, whether for my kids' kids, or whoever is coming behind. But as I thought about this, I said impact can be forgotten depending on who it's left with.
That's true.
Right? And one or two generations in that same sort of lineage, the impact can drift. But I don't know, I'm still struggling with this idea of purpose. It is so big that it makes me nervous because I'm not sure yet what it is that the impact will be. But I know that every day I wake up, and like you probably, I do my very best.
Absolutely. And Doc, I definitely can understand where Kanye was coming from with that, but I think I want to be remembered.
Yes.
I want to be an inspiration for those who come from the community I come from to show that it can be done.
Yes.
We actually had a group come to our office one day, and they were supposed to be the at-risk youth.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked them when they first came in, how many of you want to be lawyers? Nobody raised their hand. We said, how many want to be athletes? Everyone raised their hand. Rappers, everyone raised their hand. And then, they started telling me where they were from. They were from the west side of Atlanta, off of Martin Luther King area that they call the high crime area, the red zone. And they were shocked when I told them I come from that area.
Yeah.
And they, they couldn't believe it. They looked, they said, well, you come from that? You're an attorney. I said, yes, I do. And in fact, I was over there the other day, and by the time I finished talking to them, telling them that, you don't have to necessarily be an athlete. You can be an agent. You don't necessarily have to be an entertainer. You can be a lawyer for the entertainer who does the contracts. Yeah. When we finished that conversation, I said, how many people want to be lawyers? And the entire room just about raised their hands. So I felt that when they saw someone from their area who has reached somewhere where they didn't think that they could make it, to show them it can be done was very inspiring. And I could feel that. So I want them to remember that. Man,
folks, when I just tell you, people who are making a difference, right, in their everyday lives that you'll never know. You'll never even hear about these stories. But in their individual silos, they are leading with light. I can't begin to imagine now the impact that you have now, the ripple effect that you've started by initiating this in this group, right? Because now the trajectory of the lives of these people are now forever changed.
Right.
Whether you like it or not, what you have said have now changed the trajectory of their lives forever.
Absolutely.
Believe it or not. And that's the beautiful thing that we have um, as individuals. We have this power that every person that we come in contact with, believe it or not, is a very powerful skill set that we all possess.
It is.
Because we have the ability to change the course of someone else's life. And I think once we understand the magnitude of that responsibility, then we will take every encounter a lot more seriously.
Absolutely.
Even the ones that we think are casual encounters, because we realize that the greater responsibility is not even with us, but it's what we do and how it's going to influence them and what comes after that. And so, I always say that for a tidal wave to happen or for a tsunami, hey, those plates just barely touched, miles and miles and miles away, just a little tap. But that ripple and that's what eventually. So who knows? A generation down the road, 2 generations down the road, some of those same people that you talk to, while your name might not come up,
They
the
know
impact
right.
that you have done in that one meeting. So again, these are some of the things that I think about every day when I interact with people, because I just know that the things that I say, the things that I do, how I present, how I move, it's having a direct impact.
Absolutely. And they're watching.
Tell me about the family, man. I met the family recently.
Yes.
Beautiful family, by the way, man.
Thank you very much, Doc.
Gorgeous kids, gorgeous family, gorgeous wife. Tell me about the family, man, the unit, how many boys, how many girls. Tell me about all of it.
Well, the family's doing good. My oldest son is away at school right now.
Yes, I met him, by the way.
Yes.
Getting jacked in the
He's
gym.
getting jacked. I was at the gym with me.
Love him, by the way, man. He's a solid kid. I can tell that he's going places.
Yes,
his mind is in the right place.
It is. In fact, he's at UPenn right now.
Oh, congrats,
he went
man.
Ivy League. He's much more focused at his age than I was at his age.
Yeah,
so,
man, congrats to you.
I believe he's going to be great.
Yeah.
And my youngest son, he's an athlete as well. He plays basketball. I think he's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then I have 3 daughters. So,
man,
I'm proud of them all.
Folks, these are the blessings that you can't even put. There's no value in this world that can be placed on blessings like these.
Not
man.
at all.
Having beautiful, healthy children, healthy wife, healthy family. When we look at everything else, it pales into comparison to all of this stuff. And I want to say, man, congratulations, man. I see you, and I look up to all of it, man. It's very upstanding.
Thank
and
you,
just keep on blazing this trail. When I see you, I hold you in so much respect. And again, our interactions are few, but just know that I look at you with tremendous amount of respect. Continue doing what you're doing, man.
I really appreciate that.
Of course, my G. Continue. And thank you again, man, for sharing and spending time with us on today's podcast. Before we wrap up, I have one final question for you, man.
Absolutely.
And this question is fairly easy and simple, man. Fairly simple. If you had to choose something else, not law, something else, what would that be and why?
If I had never become an attorney?
Yeah, what would that be?
I don't know. I'd probably be doing something, maybe dealing with sports. My father was a great coach, maybe be a sports agent. Yeah. I'm very competitive. So probably be a sports agent or doing something like that.
Gotcha. Well, now that you're in law, what does the next 5 years look like for you?
Helping a lot more people, continuing to grow, expanding more into trucking. I've actually taken a trucking course at Legacy Trucking School. So a lot of attorneys treat trucking cases like car accidents, but they're tremendously different. You have the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, different rules that apply. And if you don't know those particular rules, you may be leaving acts of negligence out of the complaint, things that allow them to have more liability to end up making them pay more money.
Gotcha.
So I'm focusing on that. That's entirely a broad area. And expanding. And I want to also focus on my nonprofit. I have a nonprofit as well called Your Sons, Our Brothers, where I want to take the younger kids, mentor them, bring them to the office, let them see how things work. And if they don't want to, necessarily be an attorney, that's fine. We can go and talk, take them to the Hawks games. We do that now too with another nonprofit I'm in. It's called Fathers First. So we'll take them to the Braves games, and fathers who don't have parental rights, we'll help them set that up. Just be as much of a blessing to the community as I can be.
As we close, in the next minute or two, I'd like you to talk to the audience because this non-for-profit, I feel like I'm moved to have you tell us about the non-for-profit and how can folks get involved. The cause sounds like it's a worthy cause.
Okay. Well, you can give me a phone call. They can reach me at 404 RR-REC, which is 404-779-7325. You know, the nonprofit is Your Sons, Our Brothers, and then I'm also a part of Father First. We actually have a chapter of Father First in New Orleans. We're looking to expand to other states as well. So give me a phone call, get involved. We definitely can use your help. There are a lot of kids that need assistance out here.
Attorney Rucker, pleasure was absolutely mine, man.
My pleasure, Doc.
Thanks again, and I
Anytime.
appreciate having you today on the Wellness Hustle podcast.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you.